All right, hand up, accountability. This is my first time hosting the show. I thought the second half hour was exclusively streamed, wasn't on TV. Was so happy to have you guys all here.
Watching the show each week.
Oh, thank you guys so much. Hey, I do my part. I do my 1/11th. I'm usually driving home from working so hard to produce content for the show, Howard. GDAR. Anyways, welcome back to Leading the Charge, everybody. Drop your comments, questions, concerns. Joe, Howard, and I will address it all. The big conversation, we could have spent, obviously, the first half hour talking about this, guys. Offensively, did you feel like there was anything that we didn't get to that you wanted to bring up in just terms of why this offense struggled, not only Sunday, but has continually shown signs of just sputtering and overall struggle?
I mean, it's such a convoluted question because there's so many ways you can kind of try and dice it up, because what we have seen is just an overall hesitance to push the ball down the field. And because there has been such hesitation in pushing the ball down the field, we have seen them respond within scheme to keep everything kind of short crossers. Howard brought up the word, which is perfect, horizontal. I've been calling it the horizontal raid a few times, just because sometimes it screens out wide, and you know, a lot of times they condense because of their, you know, how prolific they have been as a rushing team,
right,
where they've got multiple tight ends or 2 tight ends and a fullback, sometimes 3 tight ends. And it's just left it a bit hollow in terms of how it is scaring defenses and how little really it is scaring defenses. Because if you don't have a type of vertical threat to make defenses kind of back off you a little bit, and all you're doing is trotting out some tight ends and, you know, a wide receiver in Keon Coleman or Tyrell Shavers that isn't really as fleet of foot as some of these other guys, then it's really more predictable to how to defend that specific offense. So because of that, it's the reason why we were having all of these conversations about what do they need at the trade deadline.
Yep.
And I've been very, very consistent for over a month now, where it's like they are lacking that big time speed element down the field. And if reports are to be believed, NFL Network reporting that the Bills were trying to pry Jalen Waddle from the Dolphins and offering a pretty penny to do so. If that is to be believed, then the Bills feel the exact same way. And it is an admission by them that what they have constructed at the wide receiver position is not good enough. What Keon Coleman, what they were expecting him to take this leap, has not been good enough. And so because of all of these different factors, scheme, quarterback play, I'm not absolving Josh because he did miss some throws and miss some spots where he could make an impact. You know, the general manager, the wide receivers, it all comes together as this fusion as to why this passing offense at the current moment is broken.
Joe, I'm going to cut you off real quick. We have to go to break, but
sorry.
Continue the conversation
all my
here,
time.
and we're going to come back. Stay on the stream. Howard will finish this point, and we'll join you on the other side of the break.
Yeah, we are on the stream, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
good. Sorry,
Oh,
go
that's
ahead.
right. No,
I had a very hard cue of where to get out here, so I didn't want to make two
do you want
mistakes
this
to
now,
start
or
the stream.
you're not doing offense in the next segment?
That's on me.
No, we can keep it going. We can absolutely keep it going.
I'll use it in the next.
No, I guess so. You know, we have a comment from Dale here, which kind of brings up
in comments. Sorry,
which I think brings up something that Joe was getting to that I kind of want to ask you. He asked, how is it possible that veterans like Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore can't get open? Can the wide receivers teach Coleman how to get open more often? This is where I wanted to maybe ask you, Joe, because you watch a lot more of the All-22. Howard, you went back and watched this as well.
I just read his articles after he watches the All-22.
How much of a balance is that, though? Because Curtis Samuel and Elijah Moore are good wide receivers and have their own sets of skill sets there, but it just feels like their involvement in this offense isn't always consistent. And I don't know whether or not it's, you know, you see some All-22s and you see receivers that are open, but also you see some plays where in elusive scramble, Josh Allen makes to complete that pass to Samuel on 3rd and long yesterday. Nobody was open, though. Who shares the blame in this, and what's that balance like?
Who shares the blame? Well, I think part of it is a working base of like, okay, when they have thrown to these players deep down the field, has it always gone well? And for the most part, it really hasn't. I mean, Curtis Samuel made some plays late in the year last year, and maybe he's someone that can kind of unlock things a little bit if they give him some more playing time, but he's just such an inconsistent player, and he's proven to be that way since he's arrived in Buffalo. Elijah Moore, they basically view him as pretty similarly to Khalil Shakir, where they're not really pushing him deep down the field. They have at times, like he had that one longer catch. I think it was against the Panthers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But outside of that, they really haven't gone to him. And I mean, he's even been a healthy scratch this year. He's been a low snap guy at times this season. So it's not as though like no one on this receiver core can separate. Like it's not that. It's just a combination. Like I was getting to on TV. It's a combination of Josh not trusting, not feeling confident enough in throwing the ball deep down the field because of such inconsistency with the receivers. Then it's scheme trying to micromanage that and bring everything closer and condensing things. And then you just have defenses basically teeing off on it and saying, okay, we dare you to beat us deep. Right. And the Bills aren't able to do that. So maybe it changes with Joshua Palmer. It definitely would have changed with Jalen Waddle, I'll tell you that much. But there's that's a different universe at this point.
That's part of the frustration, too, from Sunday.
Yeah.
Waddle's out there making plays. Mm-hmm. Waddle's going downfield. Waddle's beating your first-round pick. Waddle's getting a touchdown.
Oh, the irony of that.
Oh, my God.
So thick.
You're smiling. I was cursing. Like, that just made Sunday even worse.
Like
here we are watching that game, and they've got the guy that could be doing that for Josh Allen.
For sure.
If the report was true.
All right, welcome back to Leading the Charge. Howard was just getting into a passionate discussion about Jalen Waddle shredding this defense because, as it was rumored that Joe brought up earlier, Jalen Waddle was probably one of the top trade targets of the Buffalo Bills from this past Tuesday's trade deadline, So that kind of weapon, if it is true, Howard, I mean, that changes up this offense, but also is painful to watch a guy like that go and torch this Bills defense.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday, there's a combination of things for me. I mean, I was angry because there was no way I thought they'd lose to Miami, let alone get their butts kicked. But it was also really frustrating watching Allen in the Bills passing game struggle, get shut out for 3 quarters, and here's Jalen Waddle making plays, and he's making plays against your first-round pick. No offense to Maxwell Hairston. I think he'll be a good cornerback. That's a really difficult spot to put that kid in. But Waddle's going downfield. Waddle's making catches. Waddle's getting a 8-yard touchdown catch. And if the report is true, the report on NFL Network claimed that the Dolphins were looking for a first in the 2026 draft. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. The Bills offered a first in the 27 draft.
According to the report.
According to the report. And I don't know if it's true. This is just a report. You've learned in our business not to trust everything you hear. Mm-hmm. If that's true, and the Bills offered a 1 in 27 and a 3rd rounder in 26, but the Dolphins wanted the 1 next year, flip it around. Who cares? You're going to offer a 1, and I get it. Brandon Beane can't just think about this season. I get it. He's got to think about 26, 27, 28. Man, you're dying right now. You're making me really nervous, Brandon. Just give up your 1. You're going to give up a 1 in 2 years. Give up next year's 1. I mean, a couple years ago, you traded out of the first round.
To fuel your fire, 27 is supposed to be a far superior draft than 26.
Just do it. I mean, anyway, here's the point about the offense. Here's the sad part. I'll wrap this up really fast. The Bills have done a better job at stopping their offense than opposing defensive coordinators. This has been building from we got to be. You like that? From we got to be 2-dimensional. We got to have less interceptions from Josh. We got to have yards after the catch. All these things that went into the construction of this new Bills offensive philosophy have neutered the Bills passing game. They've done it to themselves. Yeah. That's what's frustrating more than anything else.
It feels like the offense has, from what the identity used to be, is shifted so far to the other side of this run first, get James Cook involved, win the bat at the line of scrimmage. You're forgetting all these other things that go into this. Rob asked, do you think that Gabe Davis is going to help this team coming off this series of an injury? The fact is like you mentioned, Joe, the Bills have to get creative, whether it's bringing in a guy like the reports say, McCole Hardman to the practice squad, Joshua Palmer getting healthy, Gabe Davis maybe being the guy that's going to help this team get that pass offense invigorated. They have to get creative. I don't think Gabe Davis is the answer. I think not one guy, but they're just going to have to get, for lack of better words, crafty in the way they're going to have to scheme this offense because Gabe Davis off a serious injury. We talk about defenses, like how do you strike fear to an opposing defense? Gabe Davis, not that guy. And he hasn't been, and he certainly won't be.
I will say, just as a slight counterpoint to that, is that Gabe Davis, the last time he was in a Bills offense, he was a very effective player. And I think, at least from the outset, the Bills and their opponents are going to have to be cognizant of when he is on the field because of the rapport between Allen and Gabe Davis. And he does give more of a verticality to the X receiver position, which is the one that Keon Coleman plays, than Keon Coleman does. So you have to keep and Sean McDermott kind of said the same thing. You have to keep expectations checked a little bit on Gabe Davis because he's not going to be a 100% snap player like he was a few years back when he was, right in the middle of his rookie contract. But I think there is a spot to where maybe we see that role grow. And this is why it's a really curious time for Keon Coleman as to whether or not he's going to continue playing as much as he does.
Guys, hold that point. We got to go to a break on the TV side of things. Stick with us on the stream. We'll be right back after this.
I know this isn't fair to Keon, but because every throw is different. 8 targets and 3 catches. And
Did you
every
see
time
the
there was a
air yard
target, I did. Every time there was a target, he's blanketed. He's got a guy draped all over him.
There was that one deep
Except
ball
for the
too.
touchdown pass.
The deep ball, the touchdown
That was
pass
on
was
Josh.
nice. The one where Keon had him beat inside and threw it outside
By the
like
way,
that.
That's on Josh.
Yeah,
4th and 1 at the 49, a bomb to Jackson Hawes.
it wasn't even. It was just
At least Cook was on the field.
Yeah.
That's progress.
that was a jump ball. Please go make me a play, kind of
Yeah, his first and second read was taken
Oh, okay.
on that play.
Or you could, in that case, I'm good with running at 1 yard.
186 air yards for Keon Coleman. He converted on 37 of them. 19.9%.
You just need more. You need more. And I think the expectation on Keon Coleman is rightfully like where it needs to be. But there's also just and this gets to a point where Joe has asked us here from over on X, what do you guys think of the energy on the sideline? Nobody seems to talk to each other, and it seems like no adjustments are made during the game. Joe, you were in South Florida yesterday. The thing I heard from a multitude of guys like you who were there in the locker room is that, we got outplayed.
Yep.
Like, we didn't want it more. How is that acceptable going against a team like the Miami Dolphins? And like, how is there not, I guess, like, I see where fans are coming from. It seems like there should be just more disgust inside that locker room. And at least from my perception as somebody who wasn't there, it just felt like they were okay with this and like, okay, let's just dump it and move on.
I think the reason why maybe they're not as disgusted as maybe fans are is because to them, the Dolphins aren't like the lowly Dolphins as like, how it has been built up, because to them, every opponent
it's a professional football team.
has their challenges.
Yeah, right.
And so that's probably part of the reason why. But yeah, from an energy standpoint, I wrote down in my notes after Josh threw his interception, there was just a lot of hands on hips, lethargy. Like it didn't look like they were in, and this was the defensive players now, and the defense was having a pretty good game, I thought, up until the late Achane runs. So it was a lack of energy. I don't know what it was, but I do know this. I've seen Sean McDermott teams play like that before, and I have seen them come back with a vengeance the following week. So take that for what it is.
And plus, they're at home too, right? I think that truly does help. There's a significant
Playing
home field
against a
advantage.
Florida team and like you said, 40s and rain.
Yep. That's not going to be fun for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are coming in. Reports are that right now it doesn't look like Chris Godwin or Bucky Irving are going to be practicing. So. Okay. Well, we're still off air, so this is fine. We can have this all happen. We're
One
coming
more
back.
break or no?
Yeah, at 53. So I have to toss real quick. All right, welcome back to Leading the Charge, everybody. Guys, I want to get back into the trade deadline talk a little bit here. The big thing was, okay, they need to go get a wide receiver, go get one. Jalen Waddle was the report. Before we have to send it to another break, was there another position that you think the Bills should have absolutely went after that maybe Brandon Beane just didn't feel comfortable pulling the trigger on?
Defensive line,
anything, defensive tackle, defensive end, it wouldn't have mattered. But it all pales in comparison to wide receiver because they can find defensive linemen. Like I said, the defense is starting to come together a little bit. They don't have a wide receiver. And I know that your question was besides wide receiver, but that's how big the point is.
Certainly. And the other frustrating thing is, Waddle didn't move. Well, Myers did and Shaheed did for 2 day 3 picks. Really? That's too much to give. And Brandon Beane loves day 3. He moves up and down the board. He likes to
He
have
was
all
trying
those
to
picks.
swing big, to his credit.
But that's okay. But if it's not working, guess what? An infield single is better than striking out. And 2 guys moved for 4th and 5th, and the other one for a 4th and a 6th. It's not going to paralyze the future of the franchise.
All right, we got to take another break on the TV side of things. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this. Here's an interesting question, guys. And just because this was coming off the Joe Brady fan madness here, Dale asks, should they let Josh Allen call his own plays? I've seen this one floated out here a bunch, though, too.
No, I don't need that.
When it gets to that point, though, like what would that message
Let him just worry about playing the game. I don't need him thinking, what am I doing 3 plays ahead of this?
I mean, he audibles into stuff already, so it's not as though it's not.
But
It's
a
not as
play
though he's
caller
just
is
taking
thinking
it.
about
Yes,
an entire
yes,
drive.
Yes.
Josh is thinking about the quarterback is thinking about the next play.
It's micro versus macro sort of thinking, and you need both in there to make it go.
I mean, my argument against it is Josh Allen has to worry about his receivers getting open and getting time in the pocket.
And protection.
To go
too
make
much.
a play. So all of that, this isn't that 1990s Jim Kelly, like, let's go move in the hurry
You
up.
could do the
offense
whole,
kind
let
of thing.
Josh be Josh. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. We used to live in the world that he makes these crazy plays. He's too aggressive. He throws it into windows he shouldn't try. But it's so overcompensated. I'd like to get back a little bit more towards Super Josh within reason. And it's just frustrating to watch. But he could just throw the ball. I don't need him to call plays.
Here's another thing we didn't get to when it comes to talking about like the division race, guys. New England Patriots. Obviously, they're playing a 4th place schedule. Hey, Scabs.
58?
Thank you.
Okay.
58. That's how TV works, folks. It's beautiful. How legit of a threat? Just not even like talking about the division race, but like when you look at a deep run playoff team, Super Bowl contending, how serious are the New England Patriots?
I think they're good. I wouldn't call them a deep Super Bowl playoff threat yet.
Yeah, I need to see them beat somebody.
Their 2 biggest wins are the Bills and Tampa.
Yeah.
Everybody else they beat is horse manure.
Yeah. I want to see how they play against the Chiefs.
All right, welcome back to Leading the Charge. Wrapping things up here. A couple more minutes to go, guys. I was just asking, coming out of the break here, the New England Patriots, the team that the Bills are chasing right now, how serious of a Super Bowl / deep playoff run threat do we think they are?
I don't think they're a Super Bowl threat yet. I think there are a lot of positive signs for them. I think they obviously upgraded at head coach. Drake May is playing well. He didn't have a great game, quite honestly, against Tampa, but he hit enough. Like, he had a handful of big plays. He's very good. In fact, I think he's got the best quarterback rating in the league on deep balls and against the blitz. So he makes clutch plays. He makes throws downfield. The defense is improved. If Henderson turns out to be a nice running back, that's a good 1-2 threat with Stevenson. So I think they're good. They could win the division. I just don't think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Joe, you brought up a good point, though. They're playing a 4th place schedule.
Yep.
They haven't played all that many high caliber opponents. They have a couple coming up on the schedule here. Is that your ultimate maybe litmus test as to how do you properly grade the Patriots?
Yeah, they're going to get Baltimore at their best. So I would like to see that game. I would also like to see them against the Chiefs. I think the way that I view the Patriots is the Bills in 2019, where it was just like a year early. They don't know what they don't know, and then see what happens once they start to hit adversity, because they haven't hit that outside of the early part of the schedule. They've won a lot of games in a row.
Won 7 straight.
Yeah, I would just like to see how they respond to adversity before anointing them, because we have seen all these other teams respond to this type of adversity. If I can talk.
December 14th is when
why
these
you
two
write.
teams. Hey, listen, I get talking's hard, dude. Somehow they employ me to do it. And I just don't know how they do it. But December 14th is when these two teams play against each other again in Foxborough. But the game before that, guys, the one last point here, we're kind of in our last minute. How fun is this like news pile-on day? Joe Burrow is back practicing. And in 27 days from now, the Bills play the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, yeah, that's a Burrow game.
Yeah.
Like that is
Spicy.
the latest he could come back. I think he's eyeing down that Thanksgiving game
night.
against the Ravens.
Yep.
So that should be fun.
And that division's in play. The Steelers are allowing everybody back.
Not only is the division in play, like if they go on if Flacco gives them one of the next 2, I'm not ruling out anything with the Bengals.
You also got the Ravens that could easily go on a run.
Joe
too.
Burrow and
One
Jamar
game
Chase, look out. Those two together are just magic.
Well, it's that beautiful time of the year. We are now going to the later half of the NFL season. The Bills obviously with some work to do, but as Joe mentioned, we have seen this team respond plenty of times So maybe Sunday we'll be talking about something else. And then Monday show, when Matt comes back, I can do a happier segment. All right. For Howard Simon, Joe Biscaglia, Michelle and Julia in the control room, see ya.
Bye, stream.
Goodbye.
Goodbye to the stream. Thanks, everybody.